Cards in someone's pants. Does it cross the line? Hard to say.
What?
Too soon.
Okay. I get more than 2 minutes now.
Definitely not what I was looking for. There's only one
Wait, are you
card.
missing something? Because like, I'll help you look for it. That is the case.
It's in a framework block.
Oh, well, I did have that, so. Ah, there it is. I'm sorry.
I was trying to escape.
Still missing the second page of the framework block.
Well,
Let me just
Sorry, what am I supposed to do?
know your cards.
Oh.
I don't know. They have a lot of cards.
I didn't need a lot of evidence for. All right, that's fine. You know, we'll just go for it. You can work on it after the speech. I don't want to. I've got enough. There.
okay. The order is the gender advantage, state action doctrine, the counter plan, the pay decide, framework, the critique. I will be going to his overview
Separate.
just like at the top. I'm sorry, my critique flow, I'm going to be highlighting some arguments at the top in an attempt to clear up, just to make it easier. So it'll be very obvious where I am.
Can you say the order, please?
There's some arguments, okay, yeah. So I guess you can just float next to the two and see how we go.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I lost you after counterplan.
Okay, counter plan,
I didn't even make it to counterbalance.
oh.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Gender
so
balance. State
Gender
action.
balance and state action, counter plan,
Yeah.
pay, framework, the critique.
Ready?
Hold on one second. Yeah. All good.
Gender advantage of consider ILA internal arresting evidence indicates that when incorporating women's voices in international law is crucial to transforming the international human rights system or impact that is extinction. This is a conceded advantage of the CRR arguments are relevant to this, which are extinction impact. Number one argument are Lopez evidence indicates that overruling divorce and precedent evidence is fantastic on this question. We didn't concede the goal five evidence or evidence indicates that Bala gives a transform public institution and public value. That's our Weissman evidence indicates that we is not merely illusory symbolic, but rather we can change the goal. We can change the legal institution that goes along with our framework arguments. Number three argument is that we link term their may evidence. It's a question of changing the legal structure. So Lopez and Weissman evidence indicates that we can solve that. It just leads them McCutcheon evidence indicates gives unique arguments that indicates that the courts drew a new line between the public pride child mailing. Our evidence indicates as comparative on this question indicated that Morrison said that someone drew a new line between the public and private and our public. And now the CR bad arguments. First, they're conceding our public evidence indicates that the symbol that all the arguments by criminalization is the criminalization is worse than status quo because it requires things like penetration, which would be more humiliating to victims than status quo. Additionally, our evidence indicates that victims can demand an apology or assailant's transfer, which is better. They get the choice of whether to use a civil or criminal system. They get our house evidence is not needing criminalization system source that's tend above and that we give people the choice. Give women the choice to more empowering. The state action doctrines are in gun evidence. Our random evidence is better on this question. Our evidence indicates that the state action doctrine is crucial to solving multiple types of private actor violence. Our evidence indicates that the court effectively sanctioned the private sector violence, which the impact of that is that we have two impacts. That first is that zero violence from racism, which is our Nazi evidence, and our second impact is the free speech advantage they have no answer to, which our impact is genocide and nuclear war. This is independent net benefit to the permutation, which they and a reason to vote for the affirmative, which they don't have any answer to. He just said he goes for a distinguishing argument. It won't be distinguished within the plaintiff's blood fiat would solve this argument because it's an explicit overrule. We should have asked, and it would be a contradiction if they to make these types of arguments because the counterplan's entire precedence of the counterplan they're going for they are going for this counterplan, and it would link to that. And the counterplan debate, they're conceding that it's not the small values of the law or Lopez evidence indicates that they're leaving the Morrison precedent on the books is bad, and the impact of that is extinction in international law, which the counterplan can't send an international signal, which means they can't solve internationally, which is another extinction scenario. Additionally, I vote for the number three argument that only a clear judicial overrule is crucial to solving confusion. Otherwise, lower courts who are sexist, racist institutions will not be sexist, racist institutions will, if there's any kind of unclarity in the law, will interpret the law sexist will be act sexistly oppose the plan only. Our Weissman evidence in case that we can transform legal structures. But they've conceded all the reasons why our specific evidence is better than your overrule bad for the Congress judge evidence. Our evidence in case the plan is popular. If ASA points are valid, by valid evidence in case that nobody wants to be for violence against women. The visa point is unseen evidence indicates that the plan is a bipartisan institution that one overrule will cause the impact. Additionally, the last argument is that Congress perceives that the position was horribly long. They have no internal link to your women's group's argument. Sorry, you don't read an internal link to any of these arguments. Additionally, they say their evidence about McKinnon is actually talking about the Morrison decision, not the VAWA, and Additionally, doesn't turn the case. The nuclear war argument, the nuclear war, the nuclear war doesn't turn the case because the root cause of nuclear war is gender violence, which still have argument out of frame. We're doing representation case or throughout the illegitimate. Ace of point is infinitely aggressive. We can't defend everyone. The 2AC and the 1AC piece of point is that counter-interpretation is arbitrary and self-serving. Do only there means that counter-interpretation on the other counter-interpretation which comes in the 2AC is a little bit too late given our arguments. We're in the 1AC. You shouldn't evaluate these. Additionally, the education of reps argument creates silly debates in the fact that they don't have any specific evidence or common evidence because the appearance of politics has to be questioned. That's not the same as rhetoric. It's key judge. And we challenge sovereign representation by exploring the court, our Baker evidence, and our Coleman evidence indicates we internally turn this argument. The end, additionally, the affirmative framework because we have a framework in the 1AC. Otherwise, it makes the 1AC move to A. Then it's a movement. Doesn't exclude the framework. Just run those arguments when you're negative. And also that our framework arguments trump all our framework arguments weigh your education. Then they can see the argument. The alternative wouldn't make sense in our framework because you can't have the Supreme Court reject the affirmative based on the constitutional politics. Now the critique debate at the top, they can see the alternative becomes a floating pick in the 2C. He makes arguments about why they think after all of the plan that this is a voting issue. A voting issue. Ace of points it kills off offense. The negative can't advocate the plan managed to representation gives us zero offense against the piece of point is that in his fairness there's an infinite amount of research burden. We can't defend everyone in the 1AC. Additionally, this is a new characterization of the alternative. Be very specific on this. He says in the 1AC crossings it's a cave. Our framework he can advocate the plan. And then he says in the 2C it's a cave that the 1AC text was but whereas in the 1C it was just vote negative as a performative act. That's unfair in a voting issue. This is an example of in-round use. You should drop them on this. Additionally, that it's not we internally turn their more real-world arguments. That is the reason why you should prefer the plan as opposed to the alternative that we internally turn that argument. He says it's more predictable. No, there's unpredictable link to representation. I'll also go for my framework conditionality bad arguments first. It's uniquely unfair. They arbitrarily define the world into two frameworks. Into two frameworks, the policy debate and the only prerequisite to practicality because it's the only resolutional burden. Additionally, the impact to. And it's uniquely bad in this instance because the impact to the counterplan is the rule of law good and the K is rule of law bad. It's a voting issue because it kills our ability to generate offense when they are ideological opposites. It is crucial for competitive equity, fairness, and education. Additionally, they make arguments by infinite prep solves. That doesn't solve the in-round abuse argument. All the fallback impact is that we get to concede the rule of law good, in which functions as straight impact turn to your K. And there are a couple of dissents. The alternative, the first argument is our role-playing arguments that we have to learn to engage structural strategies. We cannot just wish them away, which means we must generate new political subjectivities that can respond to their existence. The alternative is ignorance, which embolders to say to take advantage of the possible population leads to extreme success. The Baker evidence, Coleman evidence, piece of points, I love that. Saying a public evidence which is extended on the case, the delivery of evidence doesn't apply. The racist and bad evidence. We have a competing political strategy that's better than 1AC. It's a criticizing institutions. This proves I'll go to the permutation debate now. First, it's not a severance argument because we endorse the entirety of the plan. However, the alternative is so transformative it can solve any residual links to the affirmed demand. It's not a time frame argument. The time frame would again apply against our impact arguments because it takes forever to solve. Additionally, the Weissman evidence indicates that we are critical with the we can critically overturn the symbol, which means that only we can transform legal institutions back up to the top. Additionally, is that the alternative can't solve their armchair intellectuals. It's very easy for them to say no. We won't engage the structure of the legal institutions. However, we're making an evidence indicates that it does not help abuse women. They're Cardi link evidence. They're conceding our Baker evidence that we internally turn your idealized argument that racist structures do exist and we should be able to solve. We should be able to solve the argument. We don't commodify violence that's commodified in the status quo, which is the arguments are unique. And additionally, our framework is about challenging male dominance and answers all their arguments about McKinnon.